Well, they're unbelievably destructive, but a hog is a strange beast. Um, they're really extremely nearsighted. They can't see hardly at all, but they can hear and they can smell, and they're extremely smart. A hog is probably one of the smartest animals out there. My granddad always used to say that he said you could teach a hog to play the piano if you could figure out how to put the corn on the keys just right. But but unbelievably destructive. They root up the ground. I mean, when we were still um, feeding yearling calves, literally I would lose in grazing probably 35, 40 acres or more a year. That's just rooted up. They would just go in, and I mean, some places, you know, well, I'll tell you how bad some of the root places are. Um, this was when Gentry was still in high school. I had him loading some hay for me, and he was taking off across my hayfield with a tractor, and where the hay cutter had cut the grass, it's level, and the grass or the ground had been rooted up, but you couldn't see it because the way the grass was cut. And he dropped the front end of the tractor, the one you were driving.
Yeah.
He dropped it off into that ground where it was rooted, and it actually broke the frame of the tractor and drove the fan blade into the radiator. I mean, it literally broke the frame of the tractor, and you couldn't see it. I mean, it wasn't he was racehorsing across the pasture or anything like that. It just, um, but I had one of my friends actually went up to the legislature, up to the House, and testified and took pictures of um, some of the destruction hogs had done, and it was he had baby calves where hogs had killed it and uh, eaten part of it. People's cornfields, hogs will go down and knock down. They'll literally walk down a row of corn and knock down stalk by stalk by stalk, and they may take one bite or two bites out of an ear of corn and go to the next one, and just completely destroy a cornfield or crop. And they're very prolific. And I've noticed over the years, when wild hogs first started out in this part of the country, and it was Russian boars that had crossed with domestic hogs, is where all of this has come about, where people had imported some Russian boars for hunting purposes, and then turned around and these hogs had crossed with domestic hogs, and so you've basically got feral hogs out here running around. Um, but I remember when it first started, these feral hogs would have a litter of maybe 6, 8 hogs, and of the 6 or 8, maybe 3 would survive. And now you're seeing litters of 10 and 12 where 6 or 8 may survive. And so I don't know what the adaptation is that these hogs have figured out how to you know be more prolific, but they are. And just it's unbelievable the destruction that these things do. That's why the House has actually opened up open season on hogs, and we'll never. I don't think we'll ever eradicate them because it's just they're too smart and they're too prolific.